Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce, and we welcome you to our March monthly webinar that is focused on the current opportunities available for Nigerian products and services under the AGOA Act. You are all welcome once again. May we have the national anthems, please? Hello.
Yeah, how are you doing, DJ?
I'm fine, and you?
Fine. Okay.
Okay, very good, very good. Nice to see you again.
Same here.
Yeah. Now, I think we should just proceed. I want to recognize the presence of some of our board members, our guest speakers.
Yeah, how are you doing, DJ?
We're all fine. All fine.
Fine.
We have okay, very good, very good. Nice dialogue there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Proceed. I want to recognize the presence of some of our board members, our guest speakers. Mr. Bayodo, you are welcome, sir. We are trying to see whether the president will be able to join. We'll see. If he does not, we'll continue all the same. Now, in order not to waste further time, I would invite, we'll continue to recognize people as soon as they log in. I will have to invite Mr. Bayoido, who is a board member, to quickly say some welcome remarks on behalf of Mr. President Otumba Toyin Akomalafe. Mr. Idowu, sir, are you there, Ambassador Idowu? Ambassador, sir. Hello,
Yes,
sir.
I am.
Okay, sir. Welcome remarks on behalf of
Good
the President.
morning.
How are you doing?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Our guest speakers, our keynote speaker, board members, and the generality of membership of the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce. Accept it from me that the president is well, but is unavoidably absent with us today. But he has given me some remarks to make on his behalf. It is with delight that we welcome all our membership to this webinar on the current opportunities available for Nigerian products under the African Growth and Opportunity Act. Being aware of the limitations besetting budding exporters in Nigeria and in still some other African countries, they will fully take advantage of the potentials inherent in the Act. Necessitated this type of talk. Granted that we are in the final phases of the final years of the Act, all the same, it is better late than never. And therefore, it gives me pleasure to give the following, to make a few pronouncements on our speaker and our keynote speaker of today. Mr. Fred Oladeyinde is the African Growth and Opportunity Act Civil Society Network Chairman. This is a man that has devoted a major part of his adult life to working for Africa economically. We are delighted to have you with us this morning. Also, we have Mr. Karadialo, who is currently the AGOA specialist, who has worked extensively on the USAID West African Access Project. He has conducted many training workshops on AGOA and export requirements to the US market in several countries in West Africa. I would not like to take too much of your time. Having said this, I want to welcome you all once again, and I wish you a mutually beneficial period together this morning. Thank you for your attention.
We are going to quickly have Mr. Oladeyinde. Kara, I crave your indulgence. We'll take on Mr. Oladeyinde, who will just make a brief presentation, and then you will now come on and make your detailed presentation. So, can we have Mr. Fred Oladeyinde, please? Is Chair, African Growth and Opportunities Act, AGOA Civil Society Organization Network, CSO. Hello, sir. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Yes.
Morning. How are you doing? And Mr. Idowu, it's nice to see you. And thank you for the introduction.
Thank you.
The National President, board members, the staff of the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce, stakeholders, friends, and well-wishers. I am honored and delighted to address this august body this morning, particularly during the celebration of the Chamber's 60th birthday celebration. From the Board of Trustees of the Foundation for Democracy in Africa and the members of the AGOA Civil Society Organization Network, I bring greetings and add our voices to many to congratulate the Chamber on the celebration of 6 decades of dedication and commitment to advancing bilateral trade, investment, and cultural ties between Nigeria and the United States, while creating millions of good-paying jobs on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. Bravo. NAC partnership with my organization, the Foundation for Democracy in Africa, dates back to 2001, when the FDA and NAC signed a memorandum of understanding to join hands and work collaboratively on advancing US-Africa trade and economic cooperation. May I take this opportunity to thank the current and prior national presidents and board members for their support and collaboration over the last 2 decades. Thank you. The AGOA Civil Society Organization Network is a consortium of non-governmental organizations, small to medium-sized businesses, chambers of commerce, and other groups from the United States and Africa committed to the successful application of AGOA for the benefits of the American and African people. The AGOA Civil Society Network Secretariat was established by 102 member organizations from the United States and Africa on January 17, 2003, at the conclusion of the AGOA Civil Society Forum in Phoenix, Mauritius. The Foundation for Democracy in Africa and the Mauritius Council of Social Services were selected as co-chairs and empowered to establish and manage the Secretariat for the AGOA Civil Society Network. Additionally, the Secretariat was authorized to make all the necessary preparation for subsequent AGOA Civil Society sessions of the AGOA Forum. Currently, NAC's national president serves as vice chair of the 2020-2022 advisory board of the AGOA Civil Society Organization Network, and I am equally honored to serve on NAC's 2020-2021 board. Let me take this opportunity to thank my friend, Tony Akomolafe, for his invaluable contributions to the 2020-2022 AGOA CSO Network Secretarial Report, recently released and available on our website. I urge you to read this important publication on the impact of the coronavirus disease on US-Africa trade and economic cooperation. Since its enactment more than 2 decades ago, the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, has been the cornerstone of US economic engagement with the countries of sub-Saharan Africa and has helped to increase two-way trade between the United States and sub-Saharan Africa. AGOA is a long-term commitment with broad bipartisan support. On June 25, 2015, the United States Congress overwhelmingly approved the Trade Preferences Extension Act of 2015, the TPEA. And on June 29, 2015, President Obama signed TPEA into law. The TPEA reauthorizes AGOA along with the associated third country fabric provisions for 10 years through 2025. Previously, Congress passed and the executive branch implemented 3 prior legislative enhancements of AGOA with significant bipartisan support, first in 2002, 2004, and 2006. Mr. National President, members of the board, members, stakeholders, friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. My presentation today will focus on how the AGOA Civil Society Organization Network and the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce must work collectively to reverse the current trend of declining trade and investment expansion between the United States and Nigeria, and work to mitigate the economic impact of COVID-19 on U.S. sub-Saharan trade and economic cooperation. If you will see on this graph, from 2014 to 2020, trade between the United States and Africa has been showing downward trends. And if you notice, in 2015 was when we had the TPAA signed and had a 10-year extension. So from 2015 through 2020, we could see that there has been a decline. Now, if we go to US trade in goods with Nigeria, which will be the next graph, you would also see that between 2018 and 2020, there is a downward trend in terms of trade volumes. The import in 2018 is larger than the import in 2019. And definitely because of the COVID-19 crisis, we have seen a significant decline. Also on investment, which will be the next graph, after a peak in 2014 of $69.03 US billion, foreign direct investment in Africa from the United States dropped to $43.19 billion US dollars in 2019. And Africa receives lower FDI inflows than any other region. Now, on the foreign direct investment with Nigeria, you will see that the US foreign direct investment in Nigeria was $5.5 billion in 2019, a 21.5% increase from 2018. So we would see that there is an increase in terms of FDI, even though on the Africa landscape, there was a decline, but in the US, Nigeria, there was significant increase. Similarly, Nigeria's FDA in the United States was 105 million in 2019, and which is up by about 30%. Today, the United States is the largest foreign investor in Nigeria, with US foreign direct investment concentrated largely in the petroleum, mining, and wholesale trade sectors. US exports to Nigeria include wheat, vehicles, machinery, oil, and plastic. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, attracted a total of $2.6 billion in 2020, which is down from the $3.3 billion it attracted just in 2019. This is a significant decline. According to the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria data, total manufacturing investment in Nigeria dropped by 76% in 2020 to 118.5 billion naira from 496 billion in 2019, due to the COVID-19 crisis. The IMF predicts that sub-Saharan Africa GDP will contrast by 3.2% by the end of 2021 because of the COVID-19 crisis, and that foreign direct investment flows to Africa are forecasted to fall by 25 to 40% in 2020, according to UNCTAD, the United Nations agency. This is why the presentation this morning by the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub is important and is to be commended. NAC members should fully explore available opportunities for Nigerian products and services under AGOA and help change the current trajectory of US-Nigeria trade and investment. The Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce, as the first and oldest bilateral chamber of commerce in Nigeria to enhance business relations between the United States of America, must continue to lead using the benefits of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, the Trade and Investment Framework Agreement, TIFA, and the US-Nigeria Binational Commission to strengthen US-Nigerian economic cooperation. We must all work to ensure that Nigeria's new trade policy that is currently being crafted by the Minister of Trade and Industry is worker-centered to support the export of Nigerian goods and services and not Nigerian jobs. Additionally, the new policy must protect internationally recognized workers' rights, private property rights, and the rule of law, including the right of association. In conclusion, the AGOA Civil Society Organization Network Secretariat is enthusiastic to use our existing working relationship with NAC to develop advocacy campaigns aimed at legislative reforms to support the expansion of trade and investment on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean, and provide hands-on training programs and initiatives on the ground to assist with this effort. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for those detailed graphs and presentation. Thank you very much, sir. Now, the president has logged in, noticeably so. Mr. President, do you want to say something now or after?
Yes, please. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I do apologize for the late hook-on. As you probably know, I'm currently in Houston, Texas, which is 7 hours behind Nigeria. I thank my good friend Fred that promptly woke me up at 4 a.m. to make sure that I log on. Unfortunately, the era of webinar meetings was not on when I left US last year, February. So I had a difficulty trying to configure my computer for Zoom. I know you since I got here. I'm very sorry. We have been very active in Nigeria as a partner. We do have very aggressive committee that is driving members to make sure that we do participate and take advantage and benefits of the AGOA program before it runs out. I commend the chairman of the committee of AGOA. I commend the secretariat, the DG, Mr. Shola Badimu, and his supporting staff. They have done so much to sensitize members that we can go through the protocol of customs and enlighten us. Unfortunately, we couldn't have breakfast meetings, but we had a couple of webinar meetings on AGOA, and we do hope that we ensure that these opportunities don't drop by unutilized. I thank Mr. Abayodo for adequately taking up the address, and I wish you, all of us, happy celebration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Apologies for waking you up at 4 a.m.
That's fine.
Yeah. Now, Kara, before you start, I would like to tender apologies on behalf of the chairman of 2 committees associated with this. Dame Ademola Williams is engaged in a parallel function. Mrs. Grace Adeyemo is also chairing the board meeting as we speak. But whether they will log in later, we'll see before we end. Kara, are you there? Please.
Yes, hi, Shola.
Please go ahead.
Can you see my screen on the presentation?
Please go ahead.
Please, can you see my presentation on the screen?
Yes, you can. Please.
Okay, thank you very much. On the behalf of the USAID West Africa Trade and Investment Hub, I would like to thank the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce for associating us to this webinar. It's always a pleasure. This presentation has requested by NECC. I will focus on the opportunities available for Nigeria product under AGOA. And I thank my predecessors who have, I think, provided some information that are very pertinent for today's topic, for today's theme. As you all know, the African Growth and Opportunity Act is a US unilateral trade preference program that has been enacted in May 2000 and has been extended up to September 2025. Something very important to also note is that this program is focused only on the sub-Saharan African countries, with the main objective being to increase trade and investment between the US and sub-Saharan Africa. In terms of advantage or benefits, the main benefit is really the duty-free treatment that AGOA offers to more than 6,500 products when they are imported in the US from those sub-Saharan African countries. So that is the main benefit of AGOA, which means to give incentive for US buyers to purchase from sub-Saharan African countries that are AGOA eligible. It also gives a competitive advantage to African products versus same type of products from non-eligible countries or countries that have not preferential access to the US market. So AGOA takes into account all the products that are currently available under the general system of preference, the GSP. So all the GSP products are also AGOA eligible. And in addition to the GSP products, other additional products in sensitive sectors has been included in the AGOA product coverage, and we have, for example, apparel and textiles, some food, processed food items, electronic articles, and footwear, handbags, and so on. So very diverse range of products. In terms of requirement for AGOA benefits, there are 5 very easy, let's say, requirements. The first requirement is that the country where the product is originating must be eligible. In this case, this year, there are 39 sub-Saharan African countries eligible under AGOA. I just mentioned that there are more than 6,500 products that are eligible for AGOA this year. And then that product which is eligible under AGOA must meet the requirement of the rules of origin. And those rules of origin are also simple. There are 2 cases based on the origin of the raw material and also the level of processing of this raw material, of the final product. In case the raw material is sourced from an AGOA eligible country, in this case, the rules of origin are met because the product is fully from AGOA eligible countries. In case the raw material is sourced from a third country, which means a country that is not eligible under AGOA, there are 2 criteria to meet. The first one is that this raw material should be substantially processed, substantially transformed, and then there is a need to justify a 35% value addition after the processing. If those 2 criteria are met, even if you import raw material from a third country, it will benefit from AGOA duty-free treatment. And then the product must be imported directly in the US, which means from Nigeria, for example, to the US, that product should not be processed in a third country which is not AGOA eligible on the route. The export documentation should show the US as a final destination of the good, especially when we talk about the commercial invoice, the transportation document. Those should show the US as the final destination of the good. And finally, when the good arrives at the US port of entry, the owner of the good or its representative, meaning the customs broker, can just claim AGOA duty-free treatment by filling the customs entry based on the fact that the 4 steps above, the 4 conditions above are already met. In terms of apparel and textiles, there is an additional requirement which says that AGOA eligible country need to put in place a visa arrangement with the US government before they are allowed to export those type of goods under AGOA. And I must say that Nigeria has complied with this requirement, and today Nigeria's companies can export apparel and textiles to the US under AGOA. I guess Fred already mentioned some statistics regarding AGOA. I just want to show you that in 2020, the apparel and accessories sector has become the leading exporting sector under AGOA and has increased, and now it's no more oil and gas, but it's apparel and accessories. Oil is on the second position now, followed by transportation equipment, chemicals, and other type of products. The leading exporting countries, South Africa is the leading because they are exporting these transportation equipment and other food processed in addition to minerals. So Nigeria is the second largest exporter under AGOA, despite what Fred mentioned, what we are seeing, which is a decline in Nigeria's export to the US, especially on this slide you can see from 2018 up to 2020, we can see a decrease. This is mainly due to the decrease in the AGOA export, and the explanation is the drop in the oil price and also in the oil export to the US. Something encouraging here is what we can see in the GSP export from 2018 to 2020. As I mentioned, all the products eligible under GSP are also eligible under AGOA. And we can see that from 2 million in 2018, it has been increased to 6 million in 2019 and to 19 million in 2020. And all these products are agro-related products, agri products, some processed, some not, but they are in the food sector. This is an interesting trend at the moment. So when we talk about the main products exported under AGOA by Nigeria during the last five years, from 2015 up to 2019, we can certainly see that there is a new product, which is the cut flowers. You can see the figures are increasing from 2018 to 2019. There are also flowers from leguminous and the dried leguminous that are really increasing, in addition to tapioca and other food-related products like prepared beans. So this is an interesting trend, and I think there are still opportunities in this kind of product, in the export of this kind of product from Nigeria to the US. There are other products, of course, and here when we take specifically the apparel and the textile sector, we will realize that, of course, there are some exports. It's not huge, but there are some exports. If we take the figures from 2018 to 2019, we can see a big increase from 372,000 up to 1,120,000 US dollars. So which is a big increase. But what we have also noticed is that all these apparel and textiles goods did not actually take advantage of the AGOA duty-free treatment. So it's important for companies that are in this sector in Nigeria that to understand that their goods qualify for AGOA, and that the import duty on these products are huge when we talk about apparel and textiles. So in order to maintain their position in the US market, in order to maintain their clients, it will be important for them to get the appropriate documentation from Nigeria, especially the textile visa stamp for this good, and have them benefit from AGOA, which will certainly increase the export of this good from Nigeria. If we see the 62 chapter, for example, we can see that it was very consistent, and the same for 55, chapter 55, it was also more than 450,000 US dollars. So these are sectors, a sector where Nigeria can really increase its export, and then there is a big market for this type of product in the US. It's certainly an opportunity that Nigeria can still take advantage of. Other opportunities for the Nigerian products in the US market. This is based on the type of product we can find today in Nigeria. You can see the product category, the US import of that product, what Nigeria has exported to the US in 2020 in terms of this product, and what are the main suppliers of US market in 2020 for the same product, just to give you an idea on the opportunities that exist in these products that we can find in Nigeria and that are imported massively in the US. For example, in 2020, US import of cocoa beans was about 995 million US dollar. And Nigeria was the 9th supplier of this product with an export value of about 11 million US dollar. While the leading exporters of cocoa beans to the US were Cote d'Ivoire, Ecuador, and Ghana in the same year. In 2019, the US was the 3rd largest importer of cocoa bean with 9.7% of share in the world import. So which means US is actually a big market for cocoa bean. So that is certainly an opportunity for Nigeria. There are also many opportunities in the export of cocoa processed product, which we really encourage. For example, cocoa butter, cocoa paste, cocoa powder, and chocolate. For example, if we take cocoa butter, the US import in 2020 was about 561 million US dollar, and Nigeria's contribution to that was only 0.98 million. So we can see that there is still a big gap. And in the same year, US import of cocoa paste and cocoa powder were respectively 409 million US dollar and 258 million US dollar. So huge opportunities also available in the cocoa processed products. In terms of cashew kernel, the same year in 2020, the US import was about 1.08 billion US dollar. So we talk about 1 billion US dollar of import of this product. And we can see that the main supplier of the US market today is really Indonesia. And then Nigeria was the 8th supplier of cashew kernel to the US with an export value of 6 million US dollar. In 2019, US was the largest importer of cashew kernels with 27% share of the world import. So, which means actually the raw cashew nuts that are exported by Nigeria and other West African countries that are exported to some countries in Asia are going to be processed there and then exported to the US mainly, which is the largest market, and to some European Union countries, which means actually there are many opportunities in processing raw cashew kernel, raw cashew nut in Nigeria, and then take advantage of this big market, exporting directly to the US, which will make really sense. Another product exported by Nigeria to the US is certainly urea, a fertilizer. And in 2020, US import of this product was about $1 billion US dollar, with leading exporters, suppliers of US market being Qatar, Canada, and Russia. Nigeria was the 14th supplier of the US with an import value of, with an export value of 9.99 million US dollar. So which means there is still a very big gap, and this is a huge market which is also available for Nigerian businesses. Finally, because I know sesame is another very important export commodity for Nigeria. So in 2020, the US import of sesame seed was about 76 million US dollar. And Nigeria was the 4th supplier of that market with an export value of $3 million. Just behind India, Guatemala, and Mexico. In addition to sesame seed, sesame oil is definitely a huge opportunity. And we can see that the US import for this product in 2020 totally more than 111 million US dollar, which means more than the sesame seed import. This is also the time to encourage Nigerian businesses to also invest in the processing of sesame seeds and having sesame oil being exported rather than just sesame seeds. So these are some of the opportunities that are also available for Nigerian products in the US markets. Now, talking quickly about what we do at the Trade Hub, we do provide some kind of assistance regarding AGOA. And our assistance is about three types of intervention. The first pillar is really to assist the West African countries in implementing the AGOA textile visa system. In this area, we help countries to establish their AGOA textile visa arrangement with the US government, mainly with the US Trade Representative. We also assist them when there is a need to update the list of their visa signatories and update their visa stamp when that is needed. And finally, we train the national customs authorities who are mainly the AGOA visa signatories at customs level. The second level of our intervention is really to provide information. and create awareness about AGOA and other US import requirements. We do that via training sessions, via webinars, and so on. And we do collaborate with a range variety of actors, including the US embassies, including the Chamber of Commerces like NECC, with Export Promotion Council, etc. And the third level of our intervention is a focus on businesses, individual businesses. In this case, we promote and assist them to export in the US market. We start with the basic AGOA services, meaning determine with the company if its products are eligible under AGOA, and then advise the company regarding the documents that are required for the import of this product in the US. And then we work with the company on the FDA compliance issues when we talk about the food products. So we assist usually companies to register with US FDA. We advise them also on the labeling and the logistics requirement. And finally, for companies that are export ready, we do have a market linkage support activity ongoing at the moment with a staff based in the US who help to connect these West African companies to US companies. And I want to also reiterate that this service is available only for companies that are export ready. So we do have, let's say, an evaluation form for those kind of companies. To conclude this presentation, these are some of the products that are in demand in the US market at the moment, and this is based on our experience, based on our market linkage activity. For example, you have tahini, which is basically sesame paste that is needed. We have US companies looking for this product. The requirement is that the production facility must be certified HACCP, and the company must have a huge capacity of production. Same for peanut butter and also cashew butter. The same requirement applies, which means the production facility must be certified. And then the product must have a quality packaging and so on. Also, in the cocoa sector, especially cocoa powder and cocoa butter, the focus is really on organic. We are seeing an organic trend that is developing, organic cocoa products. And in this case, the buyer are asking that the product must be certified USDA NOP, which is organic, must be certified kosher, and the facility must have a GFSI certification, which could be BRC or other GFSI certification. That is the same requirement for organic cashew kernels, organic sesame seeds, etc. So these are some of the products for which we are still working in identifying export-ready companies to match them with the US companies that have needs for this type of product. And what we have observed is that for this US market, it's very important to be ready, which means it's important to have a product, a quality product that meet the requirement, the food safety requirement, if you are in the food sector. Food safety requirement, especially having a HACCP certification, having a GFSI certification like BRC, that will help. It's also important to have a certain capacity of production to be able to supply containers per month, per quarter, etc. And finally, very important thing we have noticed it during this past few years is the price. The price must be really competitive. We have seen many companies that have good quality products that have some quality certification, but the price has been an issue because their prices are still high. They are not really competitive to meet the requirement of the buyers. So it's good also when preparing to export to the US market to pay attention on the costing structure to make sure that your product will be also competitive in terms of price. So these are some of the information I wanted to share with you during this webinar, and I will remain available in case there are questions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Kara. That was quite in-depth. There are some questions and chats online. But most importantly, this presentation, are you going to share it with us to share it with our members as well?
Of course, of course.
Okay, thank you so much. I think the presentation itself has taken care of many of the questions that are here. Let me see which of the charts again that can. Nothing very specific. Now, for our people on the panel, do we have any contributions or from all participants generally, like comments and questions before we move further and eventually wrap up this session?
Shola,
Sir?
can I have a word, please? I really want to commend Kara for the very robust presentation. I mean, it's been most educating. I've been attending a couple of webinars. I think it's been one of the most comprehensive I've ever attended. So I thank you, Mr. Kara Diallo, for the very well-researched and in-depth presentation. Thanks so much on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Now, Mrs. Violet Abukadri is with us. She's chairman of our Trade Mission Committee. I think she just logged in. Yes. She has a question. Can you go ahead, madam, with your question? Hello?
Hello?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, I would like to ask how people in the apparel and textile aspect of business can access the AGOA visa stamp for export.
Okay, that is a very good question. The AGOA textile visa stamp is issued by Nigerian Customs Services. After all exit point or export point, like the main port and airport, there are AGOA visa stamps available with customs officers who has been designated to issue this visa. So you, as an exporter, you need to have your commercial invoice with you, the original commercial invoice. You need to prepare the AGOA textile certificate of origin, which is downloadable online. You can download it, you can fill it, you will sign it, and then you will add it to the commercial invoice and your packing list. With those three documents, you go to the customs at the various exit points, and then you request for an AGOA textile visa from customs. So this is how it is done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have some show of hands. Mr. Past President Famutimi, Mr. Tunde Giwa, and Mr. Dari Talabi. So can we take these questions, please? Past President Famutimi. Hello, sir, are you there? Hello? Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am here.
Please go ahead, sir.
Right. I have, over the years, during my presidency as the president of Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce, I have worked very closely with the AGOA project, because we actually, during my period, was when we raised AGOA to become a main plank of the functions of the chamber. And at some of the conferences on AGOA that we attended, I continue to make the point, both to the West African Trade Hub in Ghana then, and the AGOA Civil Society Network, that petroleum products should not be treated as an AGOA product. When you are listing products that you want to show the contribution of what Africa has achieved from AGOA, petroleum products should not be listed, because petroleum products have no value added. Mainly, we are not exporting refined products. We are exporting crude oil. Crude oil should not be classified as part of AGOA. And so when you see the Nigerian achievement in export under AGOA, and you see a huge figure of Nigeria, until you look at the small details, that what you are talking about is mainly crude oil production. And that is not the spirit of which the US government set up AGOA. It was set up to encourage industry in the sub-Saharan African countries to produce, to manufacture, to do value added, to create jobs and other things, not crude oil. So making this point. Kara Diallo should please note. Fred Olade, you recall that we've been working on this together over the years. This is my point on this occasion. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. I want to also recognize the Deputy President of the Chamber. He has logged in, Mr. Sharif Balogun. Alaji Sharif Balogun. You are welcome, sir. Hope you fully recovered now. There is also Mr. Ademola Olonfemi. I think he's past president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. He's also in the participation here. Now we have further questions. Mr. Tunde Giwa, Mr. Dari Talabi, who wants to go first? Mr. Tunde Giwa, Mr. Dari Talabi. If any of you wants to speak, please go ahead.
Please tell them somebody should go first.
Okay, Mr. Tunde Giwa.
Okay.
Are you there?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, please go ahead, please.
Yeah, so actually I sent my question in, and if you want me to go ahead and read the question again, or do you want me to post it so everyone can see it?
Please go ahead. You can speak.
Well, my question is this. We've been having difficulty with foodstuff coming into California in the past, and we've laid a complaint to the Los Angeles congressperson on how our foodstuff has been arbitrarily condemned from coming in through the custom. What can we do to eliminate this problem? We understand product coming in from New York or the West Coast or East Coast are treated differently. I'm not sure if maybe the training of the customs officials or the agricultural officials in the Los Angeles port are not maybe aware of some of the challenges that we're having. And if maybe a representative of the West African Trade Hub can intervene, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, maybe we should just take Mr. Dari Talabi as well. Mr. Talabi, are you there?
Before that, maybe I would like to ask the person who just spoke to give us more information on maybe the type of product, give us the name of the product, and tell us what is really the issue. Is there a rejection by, if that is the case, by which agency in particular? That would be helpful.
Mr. Tunde Giwa, are you still there? Mr. Giwa, are you still there?
Yes. Yes, they're mainly foodstuffs. Like fish, basic foodstuff that comes in from Nigeria.
And which particular agency are you having problem with?
We're talking about the agency, the agricultural departments in the port, the customs. That's who we normally have problems with.
Do you have your FDA registration?
We are working on that.
No, that's why you're going to do that first.
Yes, that should be the first.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know, with the Food Safety and the Modernization Act that has been passed recently, there are, let's say, an increased screening on food safety issues, on especially products coming from abroad to the US. And the registration of a food facility with FDA is mandatory now. So you should not export any food item to the US without a prior FDA registration. That is very important. Once your food facility is registered with FDA, anytime you are shipping your good to the US, you should send a prior notice to FDA informing them about incoming shipment with your FDA registration. Once you do that, usually or mainly, you will not have a major issue with FDA if there is not and a problem with the quality of the good itself. So that is for FDA, and maybe your issue, the issue you are having, may come from that area. So you should pay attention on that, and if there is a need, we can show you the direction on which you should go to get your facility registering with the FDA. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Damilola Dokumu wants to have an idea about the specifications for urea, but Mr. Dari Talabisti wants to ask a question. I don't know whether he's still with us.
Yes, I'm still here.
Please go ahead with your question, sir.
Thank you very much. My question is to Mr. Diallo. During the course of your presentation, you mentioned something about products that are in demand from Nigeria. So my question is, how exactly do we get in touch with these buyers for those products?
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, the product in demand are not just from Nigeria, okay? We are trying to, let's say, to promote product from West Africa as a whole, since the project covers the whole West Africa. So any country, anywhere there are, let's say, export-ready companies that meet those requirements, we will connect them with the buyers, regardless of the country of origin. That said, we, as I said, the Trade Hub, we have one of our staff based in the US, in New Jersey, and then we know the potential of West Africa. We know the range of products that we have here in West Africa. So we try to promote those products to US buyers, US importers of those products. This is how we are able to discuss with US buyers in those sectors, and this is where we are able to have information, understand their needs, the requirement for the product, but also the requirement for the food facilities, taking into account all these Food Safety Modernization Act issues I just mentioned. So this is how we work. Once we understand the requirement, the need from the buyers, and then we look into our database of export-ready companies. We also ask export agencies and so on, and then we identify, let's say, most qualified companies that meet the requirement of the buyer, and then we do the linkage, the matching between both parties. This is how we work.
Okay, so
if I may, I'll let you finish your question. I wanted to just address the policy question that was brought up by the past president regarding the reason why we have seen crude oil in the list of products that are in the AGOA basket. And I think we've had this discussion several times. The objective, the core objective when AGOA was passed in 2000 is actually to assist selected countries in sub-Saharan Africa that the United States has specific interest in to move from exporting raw materials to start adding value so that they could start bringing their products. And if you take a look at it, the GSP, which is the Generalized Systems of Preference, has always been in place and is still in place, is now up for renewal. What we did with AGOA was actually to add on top of the GSP and focus on the textile and apparel. The logic behind looking at textile and apparel is because it has been seen as a sector that has helped address developmental needs, has allowed countries to be able to move up the food chain in terms of supply chain and also in terms of development. So it is not either or. While countries that have been able to successfully export to the United States, the goal of the AGOA benefit is to help to diversify, to start moving some of the producers so that they could also start looking other markets in the United States beyond crude oil. So if you may, we could see the purpose of AGOA benefits to the sub-Saharan country as a guardrail that could help the country to move up in terms of diversifying exports into the United States. And this is very key. We are now seeing results. I think Diallo shared with us his graph, where in Nigeria now, we are seeing that non-oil exports are now being more prominent in terms of export from Nigeria. So we're getting results. But what is also very important, and I think this is another policy issue now, is that the supply side is very key to the success and will continue to be very important for the achievements that we will see in AGOA between now and 2025. It is a responsibility on the supply side. Let's take, for example, we are talking about Nigeria now, that the Nigerian trade policy also pulls the benefit of AGOA towards its producers so that they can do more. We need to have trade policies that assist our producers to export goods and services, but not to export jobs. That's one of the purposes for which AGOA was put in place almost 20 years ago now. So we must be very focused on that. And I think that is an important role that the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce and other important stakeholders need to focus on the policy side, because it's a push and pull. And I'm glad that that question came up and that past President Famutimi addressed it. We need now, as the Nigerian government is working on its trade policy, to work very, very closely. And I think, Tony, this is going to be an important area that the Chamber can contribute now to ensure that this policy is focused on supporting the demand side, which is the US side. The supply side is the Nigerian side. Within this policy that is coming out, there must be provisions to support Nigerian exporters so that the benefits of AGOA can be used to create good paying jobs in Nigeria. So in the final analysis, we are seeing results. Some of what we started looking to achieve 20 years ago are really happening. So the benefits of AGOA is not either or. It's not like we wouldn't be exporting crude oil or exporting other products. We want to continue to export crude oil, but also we want to export other consumer products. We want to bring the African producers into the American table in terms of consumer products.
Okay.
So we have an opportunity now to really work on the on the crafting of the ongoing Nigerian trade policy to make sure that the supply side is as responsive as the demand side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm sure now the DPs on the panel. Would you like to share a word with you, sir, with us, sir? Mr. DP? Is the DP on? Hello? Okay, maybe he's not there.
Unmute him, unmute him. He's muted. Unmute the DP.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, nice to hear from you.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to hear hello from you, sir.
Okay.
After the accident.
Right, thank you. And I am happy. I've been sitting down at home after my accident, and I decided let me dial in when I saw this to listen. I'd like to commend the chamber for the president, the general secretary, the executive secretary for putting together this timely program to help in understanding AGOA. The discussions have been very, very interesting. I've listened to the West African Trade Hub presentation and the other presenters. And more so, the president also talked about what the chamber is doing to improve the trade between and we partner and ensure that the declining, if we do the AGOA, I think it's one of the instruments we use to ensure that the trade from to get into the US market. Personally, I have done some exports to the US, but I did not claim the AGOA.
I think there are network issues.
We can't hear.
Yeah, network issues. Well, maybe Mr. President, any last word from you, sir?
No, well, I've said what I needed to say. I just think, again, I thank all the panel members, especially the speaker.
Okay. All right.
Mr. DG, I'm raising my arm to ask a question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, sir.
Right. DG, I know you are fairly new, but do we still have the AGOA desk at the Secretariat? We established an AGOA desk, and it was in collaboration with the West African Trade Hub in Ghana, when it was still in Ghana. And we worked with the head of the hub in setting up the AGOA desk at the Secretariat of the NACC, which helped our EU. That's number one. Number two is, on a case like this webinar, I don't know whether you invited the government people, because whatever we are trying to do, if we don't get help from the government people, the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, the Ministry of Trade, and other people that other departments and agencies that are important, we're not going to go far. So I'm wondering if you have invited them to this. If you haven't, I suggest to you that for future purposes, please try to see how you get them to have a buy-in on cases like this, so that whatever we are trying to do, we always need, because the controlling agencies on our own side are also as important in what Kara has just said. We have to get all their own certification like this visa he talked about and other things. The custom people, they could be invited to this webinar so they can listen to this. So we'll get a broader buy-in. I hope the president of Foundation for Democracy in Africa, Mr. Okeolade, will help impress it on us to be able to widen our net in getting the support we need. Because before the NACC woke up AGOA in Nigeria, it was totally buried when it was under government. It was the actions of the NACC that actually woke up AGOA, the president and the chairman or president of Mr. Oladendi can bear witness to this. If we don't pull them, it was because of our work at the chamber that we got AGOA implementation strategy started and got to where we are. So this is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Past President. In actual fact, we still have a very functional AGOA committee under the chairmanship of Mrs. Grace Adeyemo. Unfortunately, she's running a board meeting as at this time. Otherwise, we spoke earlier just before the program. So that is still on. Then on the invitation to governmental bodies, Kara can confirm the Export Promotion Council was very much part of the planning of this. As a matter of fact, they could have been more involved in this edition, but it was decided that we should have another one on African Continental Free Trade Agreement, at which the CEO of the NEPC will be very prominent in that one. Ambassador Idowu is aware of our various overtures to government. He has helped us to reach out to many of them, and we are still talking to many of them, many of whom have even sent us good messages on the occasion of the 60th anniversary celebrations of the chamber. So we are in communication with them, and the NEPC is part of this. Kara is aware. So it's just that we want to have another version on African Continental Free Trade Agreement. But thank you for your observations, sir. They are well appreciated. I don't know, our standard timing for this is 75 minutes. We are about 1.5 hours. Ms. Ambassador Idowu is on standby for a wrap-up vote of thanks in case there are no further comments. Our guest speakers, do we have any last word from any one of you before Ambassador Idowu speaks?
Okay, thank you, DG. You have said that we have overshot our time in a way. These are really very illuminating deliveries. We have seen areas in which our exports to the United States are declining. And we have seen what we need to do, areas to focus, the products to focus our attention on. Also, on the issue of liaison with government institutions, the Vice President is aware, I mean, the former President, sure is aware that we have a government and international liaison committee in the chamber, which liaises with governments all the time. The President, I mean, the chairperson of the AGOA committee was actually a former customs officer who is aware of all these processes. What we need to do is more within the chamber, where we get our members together, especially in the agri-products area. Because overseas, even when Nigerians don't have data, we have the countries abroad have data about Nigerian products. And there are some stories that even Nigerian cocoa finds a way of getting to Ghana. So while there are difficulties within the Nigerian system, we should encourage our members to to go through the proper channel in doing all these things so that we can have adequate trade figures and we can know which areas to step up. So having said that, I'd like to thank our speakers for a good job well done. We are grateful, and we appeal to you that when we call on you again, you will accede to our request. On the part of the chamber, we need a lot of work to do because the chamber is the organized private sector branch of the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce. If it is done, it is within the chamber. And if it is not done, we know we still have a lot of work to do. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for rising to the occasion for approving this seminar. And we thank our speakers, especially those in the United States who had to wake up very early to attend to this meeting. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. We'll circulate information about the next event in the next few days. Thank you and God bless.
Hello, Fred. Hello, Fred.